Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial video. In this video I'm going to be showing you my drawing of a panda. It doesn't matter the kind of drawing materials that you're using, as long as you've got a pencil and paper that you're comfortable with, you'll be fine. I started off by drawing a horizontal line to keep the eyes aligned, and the eyes themselves are about 4 eyes width apart. I'd also recommend drawing a vertical line at the centre at this point, to help keep all of the facial features aligned. After drawing the outlines of the eyes, I drew a couple of vertical lines downwards from them, and this always helps so much to keep the nose aligned. I always recommend drawing as many guidelines as you need. It doesn't matter how many you draw, you can always erase them afterwards, but they help so much in the process of drawing the outlines. And then after drawing the nose and the nostrils, it was quite easy to draw a quick outline of the mouth. And in this example I have the mouth open, so I had to draw the bottom lip as well. After this it was time to draw the rest of the outlines of the panda's head, and the distance from the mouth to the eyes is the same as the distance from the eyes to the top of the head. And I always think rules and guidelines like that are extremely important and really helpful when you want to keep the proportions correct. And so after the outlines of the face were drawn, it was really easy to place the ears. I spent a little bit of time just trying to make sure they were symmetrical. And then once all of the outlines were complete, it was time to start shading. I always like to start by shading the eyes. I'm a huge fan of drawing eyes, and I think that they are such an important feature of the face. So I started off by adding a dark outline around the outside of the eye, and I added some darker shading to the inside of the eye, left it a little bit lighter towards the top, and added a bright white highlight at the top as well. I think highlights are extremely important in making a character or an animal or any kind of face stand out. The eyes are so important for this, and adding highlights to them just makes the drawing stand out so much more. I also added a highlight to the lower eyelid and a couple of highlights around the edges. I also added some shading over the top to show the direction of which the skin was going around the eye, and then I also added a bit of shading to the surrounding skin. Once I'd finished shading the eyes, I added some shading to the nose. There's a highlight going across the top of the nose, and I added some highlights to the outside edge of the nostrils. I think focusing on contrast between the shading and the highlights, especially for features like the nose, is hugely important. So adding the darkness of the nostrils to the highlighted outside areas, it really helps to define the shape. So I hope I've shown it quite well in this video. And then for the shading of the mouth, I added some teeth and I added some darker shading to the inside. I left a highlight along the lip, and then I added some darker shading around the outside, ready to add some fur. And at this point, after shading the details of the eyes, the nose and the mouth, it's time to start shading the fur. The fur is at its shortest on the nose, and especially along the top of the nose, it only requires some small strokes and just building up the layers. There's some areas that I almost left completely blank because the fur is white, and that's a nice thing about this drawing, is the fact that we don't have to spend so much time adding the shading and the details, because the fur is white and we won't have to actually add that much shading. I always recommend to look at reference images when you're drawing something like this, but I also recommend to not spend too much time worrying about the details of the hair. It's best to look at reference images and get some ideas from them, but you don't need to copy the hair exactly. Don't spend too much time copying like a single hair exactly, because that will drive you crazy, and it's best to just go about it being relaxed and some quick confident strokes. It really shows in the final drawing if you've gone about it in this way, instead of spending so much time on just like tiny details that ends up making the drawing look too technical or too awkward. So just go a bit more relaxed, and you'll find the final drawing looking a bit more realistic. It's kind of hard to explain the process of drawing fur. I kind of go about it by drawing quick random strokes and then adding a bit of shading afterwards and kind of building up the layers. I'll zoom in on the video and hopefully I'll show you my process in some sort of detail, and I really hope it helps in some way. I also have a realistic hair drawing tutorial video on my channel. It might not help so much with a drawing like this, but if you want to learn more about drawing hair, then I really hope that video helps in some way. Also, when looking at reference images of a panda, you can see that the hair all centres at a certain point, and it's around the centre point of the eyes, and then it all circulates outwards. And this is really helpful to keep in mind, and I found it really helped me to know the direction the fur is meant to be going. I also made sure to add the dark hair around the eyes and on the ears. I did this by adding darker shading by pressing harder with the pencil. I also wanted to make sure I blended it into the white hair in a way that didn't make the darker areas seem like they were separate from the white fur. So I had to try and sort of blend between and make them look like they were a part of the panda. And overall, I was really pleased with this drawing, and I really enjoyed working on a drawing of a panda. It's a really fun animal to draw, and I appreciate all the suggestions I've been receiving. I really hope this video helped in some way, and be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, if you enjoy these kind of videos, then make sure you're subscribed, and any likes, shares, favourites, that kind of support is hugely appreciated, and it really means a lot to me. If you want to contact me via Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, I have all of my links in the description box below, so feel free to contact me there and I'll be sure to get back to you. And once again, thank you so much for the support on this channel. It really means a lot to me, and I love working on these videos. And I hope these videos are helping in some way. So be sure to let me know what you think, and if you've worked on anything similar, then feel free to show me your work, and I'd love to see it. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all soon.